What's up, you guys? Welcome to Fightful. I'm Ross Sapp. It is November 10th, 2025. This is your WWE Raw post-show review, a really good episode of WWE Raw. One of the best in recent memory, among the best of the year. I got to be completely honest. I can't remember the last WWE Raw that I enjoyed this much. They loaded it up. Like they really, like, with announcements, with big moments, title changes, turns, all kinds of stuff on this episode of WWE Raw. Just one of the top-notch Raws of the year. A fantastic, loud crowd, just over the moon with how this episode of Raw hit, and it needed to hit, I think. So I think that wrestling kind of hits a lull in the fall months, and this was not a lull. This was a perfect, how should I say, a perfect Raw to reflect the fact that this is John Cena's last appearance in Boston as an active, quote-unquote, wrestler. Just a really good job. Big moments, cool matches, some cool matches. Some good moments. They really made this a newsworthy episode. If you were here, leave a thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate that if you did that here at youtube.com/Fightful. If you are new to the channel or anything like that, we do post shows like every night. And I dropped the most unhinged interview I've ever done with Joey Janela yesterday. Even if you don't like Joey Janela, watch the last 6 minutes of that. A couple weeks ago, we dropped a new episode of Fightful Presents on Saturday Night Slam Masters. The algorithm isn't being kind to us on that. Go check out that video. If you've never seen or don't know about the Street Fighter-inspired wrestling game, it was an all-time classic. Also, get in your super chats and humper chats to get your statements read on the air. That's basically what we want to do here. I want to answer the questions that you want answered. We've got all kinds of great insight, and yeah, man. Also, I want to take the time to say this. What Culture aggregated very irresponsibly, mind you, a select answers post from FightfulSelect.com. I'll get to that plug later. At the beginning of every single one of those articles, and any Fightful Select subscriber can attest to this, I put, guys, this is a Q&A. It came from our Q&A article from this past Sunday. Please, when aggregating it, note that. That way, there is context applied. Because all throughout today, I had people saying, oh my God, Sean's passing off opinions as reports. No, it was in the select answers thing. And no, it wasn't Ollie. It was What Culture. It wasn't Wrestle Talk. It was What Culture. But no, it was my opinion on the matter, my view on the matter, and people were acting like it was some sort of exclusive news report. If it was a news report, I would have promoted it on my Twitter. You would not have needed to wait for What Culture to post this. I reached out to What Culture. They didn't say anything. I don't know. But if you are aggregating our daily Q&A articles, of which are from the podcast that airs days before, please cite that. Because the last thing that I need is media illiterate dipshits acting like I reported something that was analysis and opinion. And this might shock people. This might shock some people. I am allowed to have opinions on things. I am allowed to look at the women's United States title scene and say, my God, there has been no care given to that. They haven't given a single shit about it. And they only did it because Michin and Chelsea Green had such a fantastic feud that they're like, well, my God, we don't see world title plans for either one of them. So we better add this U.S. title. I had people claiming that I was burying Lyra Valkyria because I said that Becky Lynch willed that title into existence, which she did. Because I'll give you a guess about how it was booked before Becky Lynch came back to TV and said, guys, I want to be in something substantial. And the thing substantial I want to be a part of is the Intercontinental title scene. And that's the woman I want to work with, and pointed at Lyra Valkyria. And then Lyra Valkyria had a hell of a run. Come on. What are we? Like, at what point did we get so soft? I mean, listen, I should say, at what point did we get so soft about any sort of criticism about a wrestling show? But now there are people comparing the lows of 2025 to how bad it was in 2019. And on this very show, there was a commenter who came along and said that the Roman Reigns mystery attacker storyline was as good as season 1 of The Sinner with Jessica Biel. So we have witnessed that for quite some time. But listen, I am not a difficult person to contact if you are an aggregator or if you have questions or concerns about a story, but people don't really care about that. They care about getting those likes and retweets off. But if you're here, get those super chats and humper chats in. Did drop my Q&A show over on Fightful Select today, though. Go check that out. Also reported or revealed last week, WrestleVotes is joining Fightful Select. Every week, you're going to have WrestleVotes Radio with lots of scoops, and they're going to be doing a Q&A. Go lock in those year-long subscriptions. But we're here to talk WWE Monday Night Raw. What a show this was. Started off with one half of the Credit Boys, Triple H, coming out. But before that, we had some news and things that kind of emerged this weekend. The Stone Immaculate 7 says thoughts, if any, on the WWE West Side Gun bit. I've got a lot of thoughts on that. I was told about this when it happened, but nobody in WWE would officially comment on that. I was disappointed because West Side Gun is a massive wrestling fan, really supports wrestling, really loves wrestling, provides people jobs and opportunities in wrestling. And I know that WWE was not thrilled about him using what they feel is their intellectual property. I don't know if they reached out to him to say, okay, stop doing that. And maybe, I don't know if that happened and if he responded or didn't respond or whatever that might be. But if they didn't reach out to him before that and just kicked him out without warning or something like that, I'm like, well, damn, man, like doing better than that. A guy that is actively providing opportunities and work for people in pro wrestling. Maybe show him a little bit of love. Maybe take a guy who is showing that pro wrestling is a cool thing and that artists want to be associated with pro wrestling. Maybe treat him with a little bit more regard. I was disappointed about that. I'm still working to find out more, but I also don't think he'll be shy to really talk about it either. But I was disappointing to see. Joshua D says this MF spitting Sean wasn't a bad night of wrestling. Would have been cool if Greg the Hammer did a run-in. What are you going to do? Any Dougs tonight? Let's get those humper chats in. So I feel like I got to reference this every time. We once had someone say that a wrestler was an absolute dog, but they accidentally wrote an absolute Doug. So our Douglas of the night, I am going to go with, you know what? I'm going to go with Raquel Rodriguez, who has, look at this, same time, who has worked so hard and improved so much and is doing the best work of her career right now. That is my absolute Douglas of the night. Also, got to give it to that Boston crowd, too. That Boston crowd was a good one. We had a peak WWE pro wrestling crowd tonight. It was really good. Let's talk about a couple of the matches that were announced tonight. We've got Solo Sikoa versus TBA. Now, what I didn't like about this was that you could see it coming from a mile away. And it's okay to have a surprise name. But it's done the same exact way as Nick Aldis last week, right? He looks at it, he looks at the name in the tumbler, and he goes, I'll just hold on to this for next week. I was like, just do it a little bit different. Oh man, Kate's dropping a good idea. Future Fightful Award, Douglas of the Year. I don't hate it. I'm trying to reduce the number of awards, but this is a good one. The Douglas of the Year. Eventually, all of our awards are just going to become like that, and the Big Boss Man Memorial Hater of the Year award. But let's talk about the match I'm really pumped for. Because how often is it that you get two matches announced, one of which has a mystery opponent, and almost nobody is talking about the mystery opponent? Now, Galron says the mystery opponent for Solo has to be Matt Cardona, right? At MSG, I would actually love for it to be Matt Cardona. I think that would be a really good shout. I think that would be a nice opportunity. I would do that if I were WWE. I like that one. I think Joe Hendry will probably be in it as well. Yeah, I would expect them also. I think it's going to be Joe Hendry, Nick Nemeth, Matt Cardona, some people like that are involved. But let's talk about the match I am waiting to see. And I don't know that I have looked forward to a WWE Raw match this much in years. I've got a short-term memory issue, though. Gunther returning and is my pick to win the tournament against Javon Evans. Whew. Stone Immaculate says going to be at Raw at MSG next week. Javon Gunther might break the internet. It broke me, man. This is just a top-notch match to announce. Javon, who has, all the buzz in the world at NXT, should be a big part of WWE's youth movement coming forward against an absolute Douglas in Gunther. Was the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Had a fantastic World Championship run. Just top-notch. This is a top-notch WWE Raw match. I fully expect Gunther to win, but I fully expect this to be one of the best WWE Raw matches of the year. 15-20 for these two, please. Don't mess around and do anything 5-12. 15-20 for these two men. And then afterwards, bring Javon Evans up, because when that Bleacher Report article dropped of, the top 20 stars under 20, people go, I thought WWE had a youth problem, because they had a bunch of NXT people in there. Acting like we aren't talking about Raw and SmackDown. Listen, I love that wrestlers are able to wrestle older than ever before. I love it. We talked about Greg the Hammer Valentine earlier. Sheamus and Cody and Jey Uso and all these people. Listen, I'll take Jey Uso today over Greg the Hammer Valentine in 96. Jey Uso today is better than Roddy Piper or Hulk Hogan were in the ring in 96. And that was sort of the comparable, right? That's how 40-year-olds were working then. You would occasionally get a flyboy Rocco Rock of Public Enemy that you were like, damn, he's 45? Okay. But if you look right now at all the top stars and former champions, WWE has never had a world champion on the men's side who was born in the 90s. Think about that. Born in the 90s. Meanwhile, in the NFL, there are like a handful of people that are still in the league in the 90s. I'm glad that wrestling is in that position. But if you look back at the top guys in 2000, like the oldest ones were 36, 37. And it's okay that that's changed. But you need Javon Evans. You need Obafemi. You need some younger guys out there. Braun Breaker is one of them. Good friend Alyssa says, poor Javon's going to have his chest caved in. I can't wait. I can't wait for him to fly off the top rope and just, bam, get caught with one of those. That's the old Khali special. A lot of wrestlers would tell me that that's a big spot that they would do with Khali on anytime they wrestled him because he couldn't do anything else. So they would just kind of throw themselves up in the air and bump for him there. But I want to see Javon Evans do that. This guy is next level good. He is special. He connects with the audience. He has it. He has everything you could want. He is a guy that is going to be a guy for like the next 15, 20 years. And I cannot wait for this match. This was a fantastic decision to put him in this match. Well, I'll tell you what's also a fantastic decision. NordVPN.com/Fightful. If you're watching this, you probably watch WWE Raw. Maybe you're going to watch NXT tomorrow, but you can't watch it on Netflix, can you? Oh, wait, you can. What about SmackDown on Friday? Usually you'd need USA Network. Unless you got NordVPN.com/Fightful, then you can watch it on Netflix. How about Survivor Series? Normally you'd need ESPN Unlimited. Unless you've got NordVPN.com/Fightful. How about Saturday night's main event? Well, you're going to need Peacock for that. Unless you got NordVPN.com/Fightful. 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't like it, get your money back. You're going to love it. $2.98 is the most basic tier. What does that get you? Gets you the ability to download this app on any device, any operating system, and then change your virtual location to wherever you want. Netflix is global with all WWE's content. You can just switch over to that, and then you're set. You can watch all your WWE content with NordVPN.com/Fightful. How about that AEW pay-per-view coming up? Get it half off by changing your virtual location, then going to whatever pay-per-view provider you want. Buy it that way. This Sunday, you want to watch NFL games out of your market? Change your virtual location to that market and tune into the game on your local providers. Denise's husband taught me that one. NordVPN.com/Fightful. This is just scratching the surface. If you go there, you are going to see their wealth of great options. You get a 2-year deal plus 4 months extra. It averages out to $2.98 a month. And even the higher tiers with, all the password managers and the threat protection and all that stuff, that is less than what you'll be paying on those services. K775. Oh, I'd like to put this one to bed. What do you make of the Nixon Newell AEW mess? Okay, so I've spoken to Nixon a number of times. Like, listen, I like Nixon. We've always had a very cordial, albeit brief, interaction, but here's what I heard. She had, I'll start chronologically. After she announced that she didn't have a lot of bookings, there were some places that reached out to her, and they told us that she effectively talked herself out of getting booked there. There was, around the same time, an indie show that we had reported that she left at when she was supposed to do a run-in. She has refuted that, and I was shown text messages from the promoter welcoming her back after that. I believe that the promoter probably didn't tell the talent involved that she was leaving. Can't put that on Nixon Newell. Then Nixon and Miranda had their match against Megan Bayne and Marina. What I was told was that Nixon wanted Megan Bayne selling a little bit more or something like that. And Megan Bayne just was not happy with how all this was approached, because I think it's pretty fair to say, like, AEW is portraying Marina and Megan as like road warriors, like top-notch level people here. Nixon and Miranda aren't signed, and traditionally in AEW, if you're going to sell for unsigned people, you got to clear it with the coach and all that. I had heard that Bryan Danielson took exception with how that match was laid out. Nixon vehemently denies this, says that she has never spoken or never met Bryan Danielson, but that was the word that got around the locker room. Either way, Megan Bayne was not happy with that match, felt like Nixon and Miranda sandbagged her, and her frustration was legitimate. That much I can confirm. She was frustrated with that match. That's That's the long and short of it. Regardless of that, Nixon and Miranda were invited back twice. They were invited back Wednesday. They were backstage. We had reported that on FightfulSelect.com. They talked to some wrestlers back there, and then they were brought in for Collision this past week. Shortly before the show, they had been told, or they've been told that they had a match earlier in the day, and they were told shortly before the show it'll be 3 minutes, and they said, "Well, that's not really beneficial to anybody." And it's against Anna Jay and Ty Conti, or Ty Mello. Apologize for the naming correction, or the name being incorrect. And they claim that they were told, okay, well, that's fine. You all can leave then. And that there was no bad blood. Maya World and Hyann got that opportunity. And honestly, taking that opportunity might lead to some real opportunities for them, because they made a lot of really great impressions there. However, when Miranda started to tweet, "We have so much to say," 3 minutes before Collision, and then started retweeting criticism, that's when AEW was like, yo, what the fuck? And the people that I talked to don't believe that this would have ever emerged had Miranda not tweeted that. And that led to a lot of frustration, because there are a lot of women in AEW who are trying to get on TV, who aren't being used. Nyla Rose has been very open about it. A lot of girls in the locker room want that 3 minutes. There were a lot of people. I mean, I heard from one former colleague of Nixon's in WWE that was like, I can't believe you would that she would pass on that opportunity. And you can honestly look back at the history of doing jobs in AEW, especially, and draw a line to, oh, wait, that actually leads to something. Will Hobbs lost in 7 seconds to Orange Cassidy. Megan Bain lost like her first 3 matches in AEW in like 2 or 3 minutes. Willow Nightingale's first match was a 3-minute loss to Diamante on Dark. She had like, I want to say, like 8 or 9 straight, like few minute matches there. Sky Blue was jobbing out when she started. Like it's a path in AEW. However, Nixon is saying, you know, I've only got like a year left in wrestling. I want to do things that are fun. That's her prerogative. I got no problem with that. You got free will. You're able to leave if you want. So I've got no problem with somebody passing on that opportunity, honestly. Like, I just feel like if Miranda wouldn't have tweeted what she tweeted and retweeted what she retweeted, this story probably wouldn't have emerged. But that started a domino effect, of which I ended up getting information. It was funny today when What Culture irresponsibly aggregated that U.S. title story. I saw so many people say, oh, interesting how this comes out after a bad AEW story. That was a question that I answered on the November 2nd edition of my podcast. You fucking idiots. So I guess I'm time traveling as well. So, back to WWE Raw. Triple H kicks off the show. How'd y'all feel about this? Do you all always side-eye the Triple H kicking off things like I do? I go back to the Credit Boys situation that Phil and Reg always talk about. By the way, Reg was on last week's episode of The Hump. Phil's on this week. I'm just like, okay, I get it, man. Like, you want everybody to know that you're in charge and that you're the guy. Like, we see that. We know. We realize what you're doing here. Somebody says, nice surprise to see Triple H. I'd be more surprised if we didn't see him. What are you talking about? But it was to introduce Cena and to set up what got set up later. So that much I don't really mind, because they're setting up a big match. Now, John Cena is out there and he's interrupted by Dominic Mysterio. And this is a match that has been rumored for quite some time. but it's been rumored for Survivor Series. And for me, it didn't make sense to do it at Survivor Series. I would do Dominic versus Ray at Survivor Series, San Diego. Do that rematch. I would have Cena in War Games at Survivor Series. That's what I would do. I wouldn't do this match at Survivor Series. So I was really glad to see they did it here. And let's be honest, there was no way John Cena was not going to wrestle one more time in Boston. I would be shocked if he didn't wrestle and defend that title next week at MSG. It would surprise me if he didn't. So Dominic comes out chewing his gum, being a heel, getting good heel heat. What an indispensable performer. It's just he's so good. And I know there are a lot of people of which Cena and the IC title was an important thing, right? Like it's a thing they wanted him to kind of check off. And he did, by God. John Cena to a deafening ovation, by the way, just the match announcement. John Cena beats Dominic Mysterio for the IC title. Does he need it? No, he doesn't need it. But I am much happier than I was when the rumors were, okay, he's winning it at Survivor Series, because I didn't want him to win it in Dominic's hometown, for one, and I didn't want them to burn a pay-per-view match on it, because I would like for him to join this Avengers team. And now what you can do is have Cena win this title as they did tonight, defend it at MSG. He's got the Survivor Series match, and then which I hope is War Games, and then he can defend it against whoever wins this tournament. I love the way that this played out. And because Rey Mysterio is Rey Mysterio, he's hitting that LOL. You can set up that match. Now, I see Trash Trouble saying Dom actually signed the internet haters. Impressive. Let's not act like there wasn't reason for that criticism. And listen, for somebody who's in their 20s and has always faced criticism, I feel like Dominic has handled the criticism of which he has always got to a very professional level. It's not easy to be put under a microscope. Listen, I don't respond to criticism well, but I think Dominic has handled it with class, because he was being called Nepo baby, like not good enough to be on Raw. And those things were true. He was not good enough to be on Raw when he was. He did get his job because of his dad. But what he did was he got so good and took advantage of that opportunity and showed everybody that it was the right decision to get that opportunity, to be handed that opportunity, to be presented with that situation that a lot of people didn't think that they should have happened. It took a while for it to pay off. But yeah. Oh, man. This was good. Dom tried to hit the Eddie on him. And then Cena turned it around. There was the AA and the kick out as well. Like, I'm just constantly impressed with the way that Dominic has improved. Just consistently, man. He's doing a really great job. And this match was exactly what it needed to be. And what a thunderous ovation for John Cena. Just fantastic. I liked this. I liked the segment. I liked the setup. I liked the match itself. I like John Cena winning the IC title in this spot and hopefully passing it off to somebody else. Joseph Morris says, screw Cena for not putting over Dom. Listen, Cena probably ain't losing until his last match. Tom, I'll have Luis check on this for you. Yes, it did. It did. Update on more Raw episodes being on Netflix. I don't have an update on that, but I had been told that the archives were supposed to be put on there, But I would keep my eye on WWE Vault because it seems like they have wanted to monetize the Vault even more and more. The IC title makes the Cena tourney more interesting. Do we want Gunther with another IC title reign? That's the part where I'm like, really? Do we need that? I don't know that we need that, but I do think that Gunther retiring Goldberg and John Cena, I think there's something to that. So, John Cena runs into Ray backstage, and then Cody as well. Cody says, I ain't missing this, buddy. That's cool. I mean, listen, the schedule is so easy. Bring these guys to TVs. I'm past the brand split. I can't be arsed to care about the brand split. Glad to see Cody there. Sweet and Sassy Creation says, where is Tony D'Angelo? Well, when I asked, I heard he hasn't been at the PC lately or hasn't been seen by everybody else at the PC. That would lead me to believe maybe, I don't know if he's injured or what's going on. Maybe they're waiting for creative stuff. He's still signed to WWE. That much I can confirm. But I haven't heard a lot of details about where he is other than not at the PC when I've asked. Rusev defeated Damian Priest, and the last time is now witness protection. That's good stuff. So Rusev ended up attacking the injured eye of Damian Priest and setting up the Machka kick. Sometimes you just need a good sirloin beef sons of bitches match. You need that meat. Need that meat bumping up against each other, right? Rusev does the eye rake and then ends up pinning Damian Priest. So I do think you should be in a position where somebody like Rusev can just get a clean win. I'm not going to pick this apart too much because Damian Priest, you're trying to protect him. He was a world champion until earlier this year, was it? How long ago did he lose that title? But I love seeing Priest do the rope walk again also. Ryan says, percentage you think Trick or Oba enters the tourney? If Oba's in it, Oba should win. Gosh, Priest lost at SummerSlam last year. Guy in Green, WWE, says Oba versus Cena at Saturday night's main event, not Gunther. I would be completely on board with that. I think it should be Oba Femi. If I had my one pick, it would be Oba Femi. But I also would have had Oba debut at the Royal Rumble, win the Royal Rumble, and then beat Cody at WrestleMania Night 1 for the title. That's how into Oba Femi I am. But now Luis has a point. It should be Oba who destroys Solo next week at MSG, make a star right there. Yes, Oba Femi should be beating the absolute dog shit out of anybody that he faces. And then you need to slowly build up to the next WrestleMania where it is Oba Femi and it is Braun Breaker. Y'all hear that meat bumping? That's what I want. I want that friction. I want that bumpage. Straight to the top, Oba Femi. And then you keep Oba, you keep Braun Breaker away from each other as long as you can. WrestleMania match. So very clearly one of the next top guys. It is a slam dunk. I'm not going to say wasting time with the IC title. I think there is something to immediately establishing somebody as a top guy. And I've been saying this an awful lot on Fightful Select podcasts. Please subscribe. I think Obafemi needs to be a guy that you immediately establish as a top guy because the money is in wrestlers chasing him, not him chasing the title. You don't need a big, oh my God, he finished his story moment with Obafemi. What you need is a, oh my God, he just tore up the book and said, I don't give a shit about a story. I'm going to win it now. And then everybody can try to chase me. That's what I want. AJ and Dragon Lee speak with Adam Pearce. They want competition. Cool. At least the tag titles are on TV. Maxine also speaks with Pearce. She wants her match, and she's getting it next week at Madison Square Garden. Excited for this, man. Becky and Maxine have had really good chemistry. I can tell you this is something that Becky Lynch takes great pride in, working with people that aren't as experienced or haven't wrestled a ton of late. And I think that she does a top-notch job with it. I think that she does a great job with it and deserves those flowers. And she attacks Maxine after this. Hopefully that's when we see the return of Natty afterwards. K775 says, do you think Maxine wins next week, or does AJ Lee show up next week to settle things with Becky or join War Games? So there's a lot of ways you could go. If you want to have a shock title change, you could have Maxine win with the help of AJ Lee. And then they put them in War Games in order to make that, to add to that. Because listen, all these blood and guts and War Games matches, they're just throwing people in now. It has never been such just a throw it at the wall thing. There has been nothing that has shown me that War Games and Blood and Guts need a reason more than this year's Blood and Guts and War Games. Give me a reason for it. We're going to have Blood and Guts this week and Survivor Series War Games in 2 weeks. We are going to be cage matched out. We ain't ever going to want to see a double ring set up again. We ain't going to want to see a multi-person cage match ever again. Ever. Speaking of, CM Punk comes out, and he's followed by Logan Paul. None of last week made any sense. It's like Logan said, once I got my ass whipped by these guys, I saw the vision. And I'm like, of everybody on the roster that the vision is like, yeah, come join us. It's him, the guy that they easily beat up. All right. And with the Punk stuff, I'm like, are they setting up for a world title match? Because he hasn't won a singles match since Mania. He lost a world title match to Jay in May. Lost to Cody at Crown Jewel last year. Was it? Or no, he lost at Crown Jewel a few years ago. Lost to Cody as well. He's had like 3 or 4 shots. And then was in top contender situation. This stuff does not make sense at all. Logan Paul joining them does not make sense other than, they're all bad guys. Wow. Now, Jey Uso and Cody do help. Cody helping makes all the sense in the world because Cody's he's consistently a good guy on this show. Nonstop. Good guy on this show. But I would also add Roman Reigns and John Cena. I would make it the Avengers. Go ahead and add those two. And then you've got that great shot of John Cena with Cody, with CM Punk, with Roman Reigns, with Jey Uso as they win this match. Backstage, you get Regal saying, War Games! And Ryan says, I'm finding a way to put Evans in more games. That is not happening. I admire your ambition in doing so, but that is not happening. Sheamus defeated Shinsuke Nakamura. You saw Nakamura hitting a power bomb. You don't see a lot of that. Really good near fall on the Sheamus knee. We got Tim saying, with Sheamus winning, I could see him winning the tournament to get the IC belt he has never gotten. Guys, I'm all for Sheamus getting the IC title at some point. I really am. I am not all for Sheamus winning this tournament. Now, I'm sure Sheamus has plenty of years in front of him based on the way he takes care of himself. But I am out on 46-year-old man defeating 47-year-old man. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 47, almost ready to be 48-year-old man defeating John Cena. Sheamus is a few months younger than John Cena. I don't need that. All due respect to Sheamus. He knows I'm a big fan of his. Love the guy personally. No to Sheamus winning this tournament. Good run? For sure. All for it. Don't want him winning it. Don't need that. Obafemi. I'm full on Obafemi right now. Okay, match. Right guy won. I like them having Nakamura in it. He has history with John Cena. I like Sheamus being in it. A lot of history with John Cena. Damian Priest being involved in it didn't make as much sense outside of, like, it's, hey, he's a former world champion, so cool. There you go. I almost think that it should be announced, like, when it's going to be Rusev versus Damian Priest, I say we find out as it happens. Leave some mystery there. Man, I'm cooked. I'm exhausted these days. But as Ravenslade says, I would go for a pass the torch moment. Get in your super chats. Get in your humper chats. Looks like we might be having another pass the torch moment. Nikki Bella to Stephanie. But let's talk about something good before that. Stephanie Vaquer defeated Raquel Rodriguez in really good women's world title match. I am just over the moon about Raquel Rodriguez's work. I think that she does a phenomenal job. And everybody's pointing at the Kevin Nash advice, but it's not just that. She's working more efficiently. She's working at a great pace. She's really taking charge. More than working like a big wrestler, it's more of, how do I say this? The aura of a big wrestler. And like Raquel was good quite a few years ago. I think that she got the best match out of Ronda Rousey of her second run. And, you know, she got sidelined and wasn't able to be in the ring, and the work just was not there. There were a lot of botches and all that. And that woman has just stepped it up. That woman has just killed it. The spot where she powered out of the Devil's Kiss, just brilliant stuff, because then when you hit the Devil's Kiss later on, a pop that was already going to be big is way bigger. The big suplex, fan of that. The running power bomb, I dig it. Raquel Rodriguez, our Douglas of the night here at Fightful. An absolute Doug. You know she is attending BB Bluff Middle School. Raquel Rodriguez is. Hats off to her for this performance. Stephanie, consistent as always, has proven to be a very effective champion. Again, you tease the Devil's Kiss, then you come back, and then you do it later on. Good stuff. Now, Nikki Bella stops Roxanne. Based on what happened later, I'm like, well, Judgment Day's still got to have issues with her, right? You would think so. We'll get there. Devil's Kiss, corkscrew moonsault, get the win. Good match on this show. And you got 3 title matches on this show. You got a turn on this show. You've got a return on this show. You've got, yeah. Got a lot of that. So you crammed a lot in there. So then it happens. Nikki Bella turns heel. And Nico says, Nikki Bella, 0-3 the last few weeks, but knows in the WWE, if you just attack the champ, you get a title shot. You think her and AJ Lee will be in War Games? I don't think Nikki Bella should be in War Games. I would lean more into what you're doing now, but this is something that I pointed out, and I didn't get as much pushback as I used to get. But I'm like, she's lost her last 3 singles matches. She lost to Roxanne Perez 2 weeks ago. She faced Asuka in September. She lost that. She lost the Intercontinental title match to Becky Lynch in August. By the way, she lost her last match, which was last week, a tag match against Judgment Day. Lose your way up, I guess. Now, maybe they do some sort of contender battle royal, contender gauntlet, something like that. Look at me. Please make it make sense. If you were in WWE, if you're in the writer's room, we got writers that will give me feedback based on things I say on this show all the time. Have her win some matches. Because if you don't, I know what the story is going to be. Oh, well, Stephanie is so mad that she got attacked by Nikki Bella that she gives her a title match just to get her hands on her. I see people get the shit kicked out of them backstage all the time. I see them get beat up in post-match beatdowns all the time. Winning has to mean something in wrestling. And if you are the person that says wins and losses don't matter in wrestling, take your apathetic ass somewhere else. Get on. You got a loser mentality if that's the case. Winning and losing doesn't matter in pro wrestling. Then why does every wrestling company have 20 championships? Why are there so many championships in every wrestling company if winning and losing doesn't matter? Is it because we're in an era where everybody's got to have their turn or else they're buried? Winning and losing should matter more than ever because there are a million goddamn championships on every show. I wish they would consolidate the hell out of them. I wish the IC title and the US title on the women's end was consolidated into one title. I wish that for the men too, because that's a way that you can perpetuate a quote unquote mid-card title as being a little bit more special in ways than a world championship, because you can always have that Intercontinental champion. You got to have Becky Lynch say, I defend my title on both brands. You don't. So this is the title to have, instead of struggling to book these. And now you are in a situation where you are booking Nikki Bella, who I've got no problem with being in the world title picture, but for the love of God, give her some wins. Give her some wins. We will carry that right into JT9480 saying, I want your honest, unfiltered thoughts on Julia's booking. The women's US title is so meaningless. Doesn't matter who has the belt. So I caught all kinds of shit today for this, and I'll reiterate it. Q&A question from last week said, what's up with Julia's booking? And this was before she lost the title. So I answered it on a podcast before she lost the title, and the answer ran on our article because I had scheduled it after she lost the title. It has been very clear that WWE has not cared about the United States title for a long time. I saw people on Reddit that were like, well, who do you think told him that? I bet it was Chelsea Green. I was like, you think Chelsea Green, who just won the U.S. title, is texting me saying they don't care about the title? They booked her in a 95-second match to lose the title, did Julia. You can say, oh, well, she defended it on the house shows an awful lot. That thing was never on TV. She was breaking the record for like longest days. Her last defense was September 5th, 7.5 minutes against Mi Chen. Guess how many times Mi Chen's challenged for that title? About 234. She beat Zelina Vega. Got to do that rematch, right? Well, how did Zelina Vega's title run go? Y'all remember anything about that? And let me be clear. This is not Chelsea's fault. It's not Zelina's fault. It's not Julia's fault. It is the Booker's fault. They're the ones not doing anything. So Zelina wins that title in April, doesn't defend it again until the end of May against the person that she beat for it. Then what happens? She loses it to Julia. Okay, I guess. Uninspired, lazy. They had no plan for it when they did it. No plan for that title when they did it. But Chelsea and Michin had such an unbelievably good feud. The WWE was like, well, we got to do that. We got to bring in a title because we don't have plans for them. And the world title. They showed a hint of caring when the U.S. title got debuted. But I mean, my God, do you all remember the first 4 title matches? Chelsea versus Michin, 4 times. They had to go to NXT to get something different. Nobody challenged for the U.S. title while Chelsea had it on WWE main roster TV until she lost it. They do not care about it. Then I had some absolute donkeys saying, oh my God, I can't believe he's burying Lyra Valkyria. Oh my God, I can't believe he's completely erasing her entitled title reign because he said, I'll tell you what I said. I said that Becky Lynch willed it into relevance because she did. Because she came back to WWE and when discussing creative was like, I want to be involved in something special and it's the Intercontinental title. And by the way, I want to work with that woman over there because she's really good in Lyra Valkyria. And Lyra Valkyria did a phenomenal job as champion, in large part because Becky Lynch was so adamant that that title should be treated as something important because she was going to be involved in it as well. And Lyra ruled. If you're out there pretending I was taking a shot at Lyra, you're fucking weird. You're just weird. You know, you don't watch this show. I think that Lyra is fantastic. But to act like the Intercontinental title and the Women's United States Championship have been treated anywhere resembling the same way is asinine. Is just insane. Becky, Bayley, and Lyra were having like 17-minute matches at Evolution for the title. 15 minutes on Raw for the title change where Becky won it. Almost 20 on Backlash. The Becky-Lyra matches themselves have lasted longer than all the United States Championship matches on the women's side combined. Why? Because Becky Lynch was very adamant that it should be treated with importance and with care. And as a result, Lyra got a great run out of that as well and delivered. And now what you're seeing is Bayley and Lyra continuing a feud out of that, continuing a program out of that. That's how it should happen. You should have important storylines between people like Bayley and Lyra, and then whoever emerges from that should be challenging for the world title or the IC title. You got to have important stuff underneath. And if you're out there, if you are so soft, and it happens specifically with women's wrestling, oh my God, they're being picked on because they weren't mentioned in this Q&A thing. Come on, get real. How are things ever going to get better if you just take what is handed to you, like the U.S. title? It is never going to get better if they think that it's, oh my God, well, this is fire. It was not fire. The booking of the women's U.S. title has sucked, and I feel really bad for Chelsea, for Zelina, for Julia, for the women who would happily work their asses off to make that as important as humanly possible. Get real. Come on. Stop this. Oh, you're getting spoon-fed. Oh, my gosh. Look at what they've done with the tag team titles. Look at how much better the tag team titles have been in the last few months, to the point to where it's regularly main eventing Raw and having good matches lately, to the point to where they're like, damn, Lash Legend has something. Let's call her up. To the point to where Alexa and Charlotte got a new lease on their booking because of it, because it was something different. Asuka and Kairi on fire doing this stuff. Now Rhea and Io, who have been in the world title picture for years at this point. Oh, you can just slide them over here into the tag team division. When I really loved AEW's tag team division, it's when Hangman and Kenny Omega were over there, and it's like, oh, wait, these tag team titles are not a step back. It is a step to the side, and you are trying to find out who the best tag team in the world is. And I feel like WWE is finally doing that with these women's tag teams. It is hard to do that when you've got 4 singles titles. And before you are on Twitter saying, oh, I mean, he doesn't say this about AEW, watch on Wednesdays then. Watch on Wednesdays as I beg them to consolidate titles. As I say, why are we doing a national title? As I say, why are we doing an ROH Women's Pure title when we got 14 championships? Yeesh. Let me catch my breath while you all hear about my bookie. Hey guys, Sean Ross Sapp here to tell you about mybookie.ag. Yes, you can bet on professional wrestling. I know a lot of people watching this know that they have some insight. They've got a little bit of a heads up. And if you think that you know more than the odds makers, head over to mybookie.ag. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Get a $50 bonus with a $100 deposit or a $100 bonus with a $200 deposit. They have lines on upcoming shows for WWE, AEW, as well as all other sports. But leave it a little bit of extra if you feel very confident in the direction of some of the booking, the direction of some of the storylines. You can bet on anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Use that code FIGHTFUL. Please only bet what you can, and please bet responsibly. mybookie.ag, bringing you the best experience from the best. mybookie.ag and the code FIGHTFUL. Love MyBookie. Let's see how I did this week. I'll log in real quick. I'll let y'all know. I'm over there betting every week. I need to submit mine right now, by the way. Joshua says, it's MF Spittin'. Love this show. Listen, man, when I'm glad we got that question, because the U.S. title, I was baffled. I was baffled that anybody tried to pretend like that has been booked well. And entertainment is subjective, I understand, but I do not know how you could look at that and say, yeah, it's been really great. It's been fantastic. No, it hasn't. It's been embarrassing how they've booked that. And those women deserve a lot better. Man, where am I? Where is my account history here? Let's see how my bets went this week. We'll find out together. I'll log in later. Either way. Women's tag team title match. The Kabuki Warriors, who have been on absolute fire lately, defeated Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. So, Lash Legend shows up here, and Ryan says she throws a hell of a right. She sure does. Whoo boy. What a spot for her, by the way, as I feel like this overshadows the match itself, which again was good. Charlotte is really just taking to tag team wrestling really well. Alexa Bliss and she have really great chemistry, and Alexa plays emotionally off of her very well. The Kabuki Warriors get the win based off interference, but I'm like, is it Nia and Lash just hating on Charlotte and Alexa? Because wouldn't they want to face them for the tag titles? Or is that just different motivation? Hope we find out on Friday. Can't really dig too deep into that because the Lash thing is so fresh, and I really love the call-up. And I love the call-up for a couple reasons. One, it proves a lot of people wrong. Like a whole lot of people wrong. Because Lash Legend had the unfortunate and unenviable position of having, like, literally her first matches ever on TV. or broadcast. That's a tough position to be in, man. When I talked to Ricky Shane Page about like a company that he did a while back, he's like, we don't broadcast these shows. They are only for the live audience because we want these people to have the opportunity to mess up. And a lot of people like Lash Legend were not getting the opportunities to mess up without being put under a microscope because she was on 205 Live wrestling. And then she was on NXT 2.0 wrestling. Then she was on Level Up wrestling and even on UK wrestling. And it's wild to think that was like 4 years ago when people were trying to put a nail in her coffin over some 205 Live matches that were the first matches she was doing in front of a real audience. So I love to see people like that really emerge and come into their own. And here we are, about 170 matches in from that period. And she is up there with Nia Jax, and you go, yeah, that makes an awful lot of sense. And not only that, she is going to be in War Games. And I liked Metaphor as well. I really did. Now, do I wish that Jakara would have stuck around? Yes, but I have just an immeasurable amount of respect for Lash Legend, who could have taken that criticism and been just bad about it and all that. And I see somebody say people are still hating on her, saying she's awful. You could do anything in wrestling and people will say you're awful. Is there room to improve? There's always room to improve. There's always room to get better. But as we saw with Nia Jax, it is never too late to get better. So I think that Nia Jax with Lash Legend is actually a really, really good person to put her with. Because Nia can sit there and say, I had this run, I had this run, I had this run, and I've done the best work of my career since I came back. You don't see people actively groaning about Nia Jax matches like they did. And by the way, Lash Legend and Nia Jax had a really good match together on NXT just a few months ago. One of my favorite matches on NXT TV this year was that. I thought that they very much over-delivered. We have seen Lash have good Iron Survivor matches. We've seen her have good tag matches against Julia and Stephanie. 6-woman or 6-person tag matches along with Metaphor as well. The ladder match she was in was good as well. Like, she has shown her ability to have solid outings in a variety of matches, and I think that she's doing well there. Io Sky comes out to make the save as the heels all jump to baby faces, and then we get face mask Rhea Ripley. You knew we were going to get face mask Rhea Ripley. That woman ain't going to... Come on, you think she's going to let a broken nose keep her out? You knew she was coming back to wrestle with that face mask. When did she last have that? Was that a year ago or so? Let me check. Yeah, it was. Oh my God. It was November 18th, 2024 when she returned with a face mask last year. At this point, that's just her alternate attire. That woman gets cracked in the nose so many times. Like, damn. She's got a rich history of face masks at this point. I remember that badass when she did the B4B one. Man. SRS goes longer than Alex. What a wild turn of events. I loved Raw tonight, man. My longest shows will be when I love a show, not when I hate a show. Because I want to talk about wrestling. I want to be sitting here talking about how good this show was. Damn, did the crowd chant Cena left you at Nikki when she left? I just saw that. Woo! That's filthy. So, Tim says, who do you think fills out the 2 War Games matches? I would add AJ Lee and Becky to each of those. Who should the last members for both teams be? Well, I wouldn't do a last member. I'd do 2 last members on the men's. I would add Roman Reigns and John Cena. And I would add, what heels would you all add to the Vision? The Austin Theory one does not make a ton of sense. Brock is probably going to happen. Jesus Christ. What a waste that was, by the way. You want to talk about an absolute waste of a date? Why did we... maybe if Cena is beating Lesnar at War Games, I'd be like, all right. But it's probably going to be Brock. And then the 5th, let me pull up the Rooster right now for those that are Major League 2 fans. The Rooster. I think Drew's off doing Highlander right now. I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing. So I don't think that's going to be happening. They'll probably do like El Grande Americano or some stupid shit like that. Probably not Obafemi because they're not going to have him lose. Damn, man. No, Dominic's probably facing Ray. Damn, man. They do need to make some new stars, buddy. Some new stars. Shit, bro. I'm looking at this and I am stretching to find a 5th heel. Damn, man. Big yikes. Randy could turn heel. Maybe Gunther. That's a tough one. If Fatu is ready, not as a heel. Damn, bros. Yeah, but Ethan Page doesn't fit into all this. I see people saying Ethan Page. That's wishful thinking there. This doesn't necessarily fit, right? You think about those marquee names that they're putting in there. Damn, bro. That's rough. Times is tough. Guys, I want to thank you all for joining me. I want to put over FightfulSelect.com. I know that times are hard, and paying for wrestling news and all that is a luxury, not a necessity. So I want to thank all of you that subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. And I want you guys to please give it a shot if you haven't. We do have a free tier if you guys haven't ever checked it out. But here's what you got on a weekly basis. Every single day, a Q&A article from me. Every single week, a Q&A podcast from me. Multiple times a week, you get Alex's Sour Graps. Every other week, you get Ask Grapsity. You get nonstop Discord access. And every single day, you get a scoop, at least one scoop. There have been no wrestling websites ever, very respectfully, that have had a month and a half or 2 month straight run with scoops articles every single day. We've had them for 5 straight years. We are the most aggregated wrestling website in the world at this point. We've reported thousands of stories accurately over the last number of years. We would greatly appreciate if you all would give us a shot. We have year-long subscriptions as well. I can't speak to if Jimmy Van's going to raise the price in 2026, but he's Jimmy Van, so maybe. But on December 1st, we are adding WrestleVotes, who has a fantastic track record of WWE scoops. They're going to be doing a Q&A show and their WrestleVotes radio. Very excited to get with WrestleVotes and TC. I'm talking with Jeremy Lambert about adding a monthly show as well. I will be adding a show in 2026 called SRS 10. I don't do match ratings because people get really weird about them, but I do sort of proclaim when a match is rated 10 out of 10 for me. So what I'm going to do is I will watch those on a podcast and tell you guys stories that I have learned and found out about these matches. So I hope that you guys will check it out. Just Mass says, just got here, but Sean, my goat, did it, man. It was a great night. It was a fantastic night, quite frankly. They just did a wonderful job. And if you haven't had enough of a Raw review, or if you think that Raw sucked, head over to Fightful Select, because Alex is probably telling you how bad it is. But I cannot. Somebody says Jimmy Van needs the money so he can buy his third mansion. Let me just say this. Jimmy Van operates this site at cost. Lord Zypher, this is a Luis thing. Luis, please find this super chat before we go. Jimmy Van, okay, I found it, Lord Zypher. Jimmy Van has operated Fightful largely at cost the last few years, and he operated it at a 6-figure loss the first few years. I would say that the staff costs and taxes take up, I would say, 95 to 97% of the Fightful revenue. We have 40 people on staff. So, like, subscribing or not subscribing to Fightful Select isn't oh my God, it's money in Jimmy Van's pocket thing. Jimmy Van was a wrestling writer in the 90s and did very well with it, got out of it, and became independently successful and retired outside of that, and just wanted to do a wrestling website right. So this is not like Jimmy Van has never been in this for the money, just to be clear. This got me out of poverty and helped take care of my family and helped Jeremy Lambert and all of us. Like, Jimmy Van is, listen, the Canadian taxes too, not good. Like, there are people that have full-time jobs behind the scenes in Fightful, like Melissa and Shandy, that you guys probably don't even know about. And Kyler, who, again, you see on Twitter, but you don't see on podcasts and stuff like that. Like, Jimmy has just wanted to do things right for a very long time, but you know. So, Lord Zephyr, actually, Nico LaFleur, actually, we read that one. We read that one from Nico LaFleur. Lord Zypher says, aside from the 2 War Games matches and presumably the women's world title match, what else we thinking for Survivor Series? So, how many matches they have at Survivor Series last year? And also, while I'm here, who do you guys want reviewing Survivor Series? I will do my own show on Fightful Select, but I'll be at WrestleCade that weekend. So I would like to see who you guys want to review Survivor Series. Don't say Kate and Alex. They have their own review on Select. So what Fightful personalities do you guys want to see? Last year, they did 5 matches. I expect Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio. I would like to see they're probably going to do Nikki Bella and Stephanie. Lord Diver, I like this. Mega title versus career. Ray would win that, though. Reg is not reviewing WWE stuff. He straight up told me. He's like, I can't be objective. Don't put me on that. I go, okay. Phil, though, for sure. Phil, I would absolutely love to. Joel, how good has Joel been filling in for me at times over the last few weeks, by the way? Joel has been killing it, filling in for me. And I appreciate that. And I see somebody asking how my cat is doing. So far, a miraculous turnaround. I don't know if it's that miraculous because I spent $4,000 on it, but she's doing much better. And if you can tell, much lighter I am here. So I'd go War Games, Ray and Dom. They're probably doing Steph and Nikki. And then you got to do something on SmackDown, right? You got to do a SmackDown. Maybe I would never put Cresta and Jeremy together. You've got to be out of your mind. Out of your freaking mind. I would actually love it if they did. I would love MFT Wyatt's Survivor Series elimination match. I would like that. But I would actually kind of dig an Elia open challenge on that show. But I think MFTs and the Wyatts as an elimination match is a good shout. We have one more. Chance of Punk versus Cena next Monday at MSG. I don't think that is going to happen. But I do expect John Cena to wrestle. That is a hunch, not a report. But I think that John Cena will want to wrestle one more time at Madison Square Garden. Wouldn't you? I didn't think there was any way he didn't have a match in Boston. Man, I definitely never thought there'd be a year where he would have 16, 17 matches again. Kind of wild. Let me see his last his last Madison Square Garden match, John Cena. How about this? He teamed with Dominic and Ray against the Bloodline in a dark match. Then before that, he wrestled Baron Corbin in 2018 at a house show. He and Nikki defeated Sonya and Elias at a house show. When's the last time? Oh my gosh. The last time John Cena wrestled at MSG on TV was a decade ago against Seth Rollins. Isn't that nuts? On the Live from MSG show. And before that, it was him and The Rock against Awesome Truth. He has only wrestled at MSG on TV 10 times. Because so much of it, like they moved to Barclays, so they stopped doing it. But like when you think of like John Cena, Madison Square Garden matches, what do you think of? Think of the Royal Rumble. Like that's what you think. My God. I'm looking at it. And then, of course, the Big Show, his U.S. title win, which not a great match, but damn, he doesn't, like, he's got a few moments and that's it. What's bad about Cresta and Jeremy together is their lore I don't know about. Jeremy doesn't do review shows, but that would just be foolishness nonstop. I'll tell you what I'd like. Here's the shout. Next week, John Cena comes out. He's got the IC title. And he says, June 24th, 2003. Do you guys remember that date? And the crowd will probably go, huh? And he will say, on that night, I issued an open challenge. And he did. It was to Orlando Jordan, and he won. He goes, that was my first Madison Square Garden match ever. And I want my last Madison Square Garden match ever to be an open challenge for this championship. And we get an absolute hamper. Who should it be, though? Who could go out there and have a slapper? Maybe like Penta or somebody? DNC Digital says, when I was 16, I battle rapped Cena outside of MSG. I still have the picture. Mello, that'd be a good one. I like Mello. Rey Mysterio. Listen, I wouldn't hate Rey Mysterio either. Wouldn't hate it. I don't want it to be Bronson Reed because he'd have to beat Bronson Reed. All right, we're ending the show. Guys, I want to say this also. Fightful Awards are around the corner, just 2 months away. We have early nominations on Fightful Select, but we are taking sponsorships now. Here's the rundown. They're $100 a pop. You can gift one, or if you want to do one for a charity or a good cause, you can do that. Contact myself, contact Fightful, or contact Kate. We would appreciate if you guys did that. Our awards, you know what? I'll grab one real quick. I want to show you guys these bad boys. Our awards. Oh my God, you all just saw my door fall in. Good Lord. My door fell off my closet. Amazing. Woo. Our awards are sturdier. Sturdier. It came off the track last week, and I haven't put it back on because I stripped the bolt. Our awards are way sturdier. These are crystal. Sturdier than my door. They're quite expensive. I am going to get different ones this year, but I'll tell you why that's important to me, because these wrestlers go out and subject themselves to stories and rumors and injury and all types of criticism and all stuff like that. And we want to show them that not just us, but our audience appreciates what they do. And I'm not taking a shot at anybody else's awards, but I wanted to give them something that they'd be proud to show off. And they'd be proud to put in their office, like Rhea Ripley or Chelsea Green does, that are proud to show them off on their social media, like Jade Cargill has and all that. But that is very, very important to us. And so that's what we do. And yeah, drop, sorry for the stutter. Drop Kate a message. You can sponsor some, and we would greatly appreciate it. So what that does is it gets you an ad read on the show. You can select what award you want, depending on which ones are left. It gets you can clip that ad read. You can put it wherever you want. I don't care where you use it. You'll get a link in the description and in the replies. And then I will retweet that reply as well to my 330,000 followers. Whew, doorbuster deals at fight. Oh, Jesus Christ. Guys, an hour 20. Can you tell I enjoyed wrestling tonight? It's real glass. Thank God that wasn't, right? I don't have the door on this bad boy, which is real glass. But I'm tired, man. I'm tired. We're going to wrap up. Before we go, let's hear from our friend, John.
Fightful fans, the Hardy Party is coming to the heart of Times Square. This is your chance to meet the legendary tag team goats themselves, the Hardy Boys. A live Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, a live Jeff Hardy acoustic concert, food, drinks, and an opportunity to get a signed item and a picture with the tag team goats. It's all going down at Connolly's off 45th Street in New York City on November 22nd, right before AEW Full Gear. You will have a chance to be able to go to both shows if you'd like to. HardyBoysLive.com is where you can get your tickets now. General admission is available. Meet, greet, and delete tickets are available, and we hope to see you there.